Let's listen to the language that Tony Abbott used when he was explaining his position on this issue.
I do know my party room. I know the mood of my party. I know the values and principles of my party. That's why my prediction is that when the legislation does come before us, if it comes before us, we will resolve to oppose it in opposition and rescind it in government.
Now, that was a carefully prepared, scripted prediction. Why is he using the word prediction rather than promise?
Well, in this instance, he doesn't want to be held to anything. He certainly doesn't want to insult the audience. He wants to tell the clubs that he feels their pain, but on something like this, he doesn't want to be put in the position where he might pass up the 1% opportunity that he could become Prime Minister next May. And this is, I mean, you've got to bear in mind everything that's occurred in the last year and a half since the Parliament was hung is really about Tony Abbott trying to force an early election and the Labor Party not really knowing how to think its way through the agenda of the minor parties. This is why politics has been in suspended animation for a bit over a year. And that is not a typical statement, it's an unusual statement from Abbott, but it still comes to the core of his being, which is, I'll say and do anything to get an early election, because he probably doesn't trust himself any more than Gillard trusts herself at a general election.
That's a huge overinterpretation. Tony Abbott hasn't got this through the party room yet, and there are disputes in the Liberal Party room and in the joint party room. If the leader makes an announcement, and he's done a few of them without clearing it, what he wants to do is clear it through the shadow cabinet and the party room. It's a pretty reasonable thing to do.
But he still made a prediction of what the
outcome. Well, he made a
be.
but he didn't make a statement, because that gives him an out in case there's a majority
prediction based on the values of the party as he understands it.
To be fair to Tony Abbott, his assessment of the party room's attitude on carbon tax was much smarter than virtually...
Sure, no, I'm not judging his assessment.
I'm saying much smarter than virtually all the media and the Labor Party. And I think his assessment of the party room was right. But as Laura said, I mean, there is Malcolm Turnbull's making a comment, and it makes sense to get a majority vote or a unanimous vote or whatever it's in the party room, but that's what he's doing. He's covering for himself.
But he's also been in this position where Tony Abbott's made a lot of really big calls without consulting the party. Yeah. And I sort of think it's interesting that he's got this far and he's getting to the point where he thinks, maybe I can't keep doing this.
We haven't seen the legislation yet.
We haven't seen the legislation. We haven't seen a proposal as such.
There was only one big one. It was the paternal leave one. Was the one that he didn't take, was the really big one. Well, carbon tax he took to the party room. There was, 2 years ago, there was a huge support for Abbott's position as against Turnbull's position. There was a secret vote on what was then the Kevin Rudd scheme in the party room.
Now, what about... there's a big one on that. The mining tax, we had a lock-up that morning, and that afternoon I'm pretty sure there wasn't a party room meeting to oppose the thing. So,
there's another one. I think there's been some criticism, and he's going to take stuff through the party.